Hi, everyone, and welcome to this month at the IGSI. Well, some of you probably know that February 1st was St. Bridget's Day, one of the patron saints of Ireland. Did you know that March is also the Irish American Heritage Month? So you have a chance to enjoy your Irish heritage throughout the entire month of March. Well, with that, there's a lot of activities that are planned at the IGSI, and here's a sampling of what you can expect. Irish Saturday for the month of March will be held on March 11th this year. So stop on by the Hoffman Research Library, which is located at the Minnesota Genealogy Center in Mendota Heights, Minnesota. Here's an opportunity to get some of your Irish research questions answered. The Minnesota Genealogy Center is located at 1385 Mendota Heights Road, Suite 100. You can also stop by the library during regular business hours. To find out more about the library and hours of operation, go to the website at mngs.org. And our monthly webinar will feature Joe Hunter, and that will be on March 25th. Joe will be presenting a talk called Using Google Earth Pro, Griffith's Valuation, and Irish Townlands to Map the Land of Your Ancestors. Researching the specific location of Irish ancestors can be quite challenging. The creative use of online databases coupled with free software affords researchers the opportunity to pinpoint townlands and the locations where distant ancestors actually lived and worked. Now, the cost for members is $15 and $25 for non-members. Have you been on a genealogy trip in the past? And sometimes, it takes a couple of times before you really find the record or the information that you were looking for. Maybe you're trying to prove a family story. Well, we've talked the last couple of months about the Irish trip that the Irish Genealogical Society International has taken, and first trip since the pandemic started. And a lot of people had a great time. Well, one of the people who put this together also went out and did a little genealogy hunting while he was out in Ireland. Mike Flynn is his name. And we talked to him, and he found some. It took a couple of times, though, over to Ireland before he was able to find what he was looking for, but he did find it.
Our goal was to absolutely step on the land and find out as much as we could at the National Archives and at the Land Valuation Office. We knew that in the land records, it said in fee. And we had heard previously, and many of the researchers know, that in fee means that they paid the taxes and they bought it from the landowners. What I had forgotten, I didn't stop to think, was that's who paid the taxes. It doesn't necessarily mean, so in the land valuation records, when you see a name there, it doesn't necessarily mean that's who lives there. It's who's paying the taxes on it. So the archivist at the National Archives said, if you go back to the deed records, and we'll go back to the deed records and find it.
How many times have you been on a genealogy trip and you come up with that wow event, something you didn't expect and you found out in doing your research? Well, that's what happened to Mike, too, as he did his last research in Ireland.
So when we were at the National Library, we found the, they called it an inquest, but they had a full page of what he had done the previous day in 3 days. They followed all of his actions, and they figured that he had succumbed to the cold and fell in the river. So when I told the owner of the land when we were up visiting, he goes, yeah, that sounds about right. That river takes about 3 people a year. So we're going,
wow.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. So they found him about 8 and 20 days. Yeah, they found him in the end. He went missing on the 6th. They found him on so 20 days. He was in that river. The river doesn't freeze over, but it gets really, really cold. So they found him caught somewhere by the mill. Mm-hmm. So we went down to the mill, took pictures of the old mill and the backwater, and got kind of an idea where great uncle, God bless his soul, fell in the river.
Well, despite the tragic story, he did find out what happened to the great uncle, and he did find out where the old farm was located, and also ran across some family members that still live here in the U.S. and has been in touch with them since coming back from Ireland.
We have two relatives. Like my in-laws were the only ones that came to Minnesota. The other one stayed in Massachusetts, and we've since visited those folks, and we've developed a pen pal relationship, with my great aunt and my great uncles, extended family throughout the year. Granted, it's only one person from each of those families, but it's somebody from back there, as they have found somebody here from the Midwest to talk with too.
So, have you had a chance to visit the old homestead, so to speak, and had an opportunity to talk to some of the people living there, and maybe find some relatives that were living over here that you didn't know about ahead of time? Well, there's a story right there where it ended up being, there was a tragedy at that story, but it was interesting, and he did find out some information. It took a couple of trips to get over there, but he did find out what he was looking for in his research for his family. So, have you started your 2023 New Year's resolution by doing that Irish family search that you kept talking about? Well, if you haven't, here's an opportunity for Irish American Heritage Month to start it out. In fact, you could maybe attend some of the webinars that are going on throughout not only the month of March, but also throughout the rest of the year that are planned as well. You might be able to stop by the Hoffman Library and see what kind of records they have available. And maybe this is the year you finally plan that trip to Ireland you've always been talking about. Maybe this year or maybe next year. But this is a chance to right now to do some of that research and get that done as well. If you're not a member of the IGSI, now's an opportunity to join as well. So with that, that's what you can expect for the month of March at the IGSI. And I hope you have a wonderful Irish American Heritage Month, and we'll see you next month.